Hello, Mr. Shaysgreen's class. My name is Nick, and I heard that you were learning about animals and animal behavior, so I wanted to show you my pet and tell you a little bit about her. This is Mathilda. She's a ball python and will grow somewhere around 4 or 5 feet long and live 25 to 30 years. But right now she's just a baby, less than a year old and only 18 inches long. Ball pythons are named after an innate behavior unique to their species. When feeling scared or threatened, they will curl up in a little ball and protect their head. Having been born and raised in captivity, Mathilda didn't learn this from her mother or siblings. Instead, the behavior is hardwired in her DNA. She's known how to do it since the day she hatched from her egg. Ball pythons are constrictors, meaning instead of using long fangs to inject venom into their prey, they wrap their body around their prey and squeeze tight and suffocate it. In captivity, they will typically be fed mice or rats. Mathilda has been eating mice since she's still quite small and rats would be too big for her. She uses small openings on the front of her face called heat pits, which sense infrared or thermal radiation, in other words, heat. If she's hungry, senses something warm in front of her, and sees that it isn't too big to eat, she'll grab it as quick as she can and constrict it for a few minutes to kill it. Then she swallows it whole. For the most part, swallowing an entire animal whole, especially one that's bigger than your own head, seems impossible. But snakes evolved a very unique mouth. There's the upper jaw, which is part of the skull, and the lower jaw, which is separated into 2 pieces and attached to the skull by a specialized bone that allows free, independent movement of each side. An elastic ligament connects the lower jaws together and allows them to separate so its mouth can stretch wide enough for their prey to fit through. It takes about 10 minutes for Mathilda to swallow her prey, pulling it in little by little. And since holding your breath for 10 minutes is just as impossible as breathing with your mouth stuffed full of rodent, snakes developed a straw-like breathing tube which they poke out of their mouth so they can breathe while they eat. This entire process, sensing prey, the strike, the constricting, the swallowing, and the breathing, are all innate behaviors. The very first time Mathilda ate, just days after she came out of her egg, she already knew how to do it all because it's in her DNA. Innate behaviors are so built in that even though Mathilda eats mice that are already dead, she still sneaks up on them and tries to squeeze them to death every time, and that will never change. Now, Mathilda will grow larger as she matures just like every other animal, but a snake's skin is different than that of mammals like humans. She is still covered in skin, but out of that grows tough, rigid plates called scales. It may seem odd, but the scales are also covered in their own layer of skin. Since a snake's skin, especially on its scales, is very tough, it doesn't grow as the snake grows, but rather the snake gets too big for its own skin and needs to shed or get rid of it and grow a new layer that fits their larger body. This process can take a little over a week. During that time, a new layer of skin will form underneath the old one, which gradually detaches itself. Once the new layer is completely formed and the old layer is free, the snake will sense this and begin to remove the old layer. Without the aid of hands, Mathilda needs to rub herself on her environment to help shed. Starting at her head, she loosens and slithers out of her old skin, all the way down her body, removing it from head to tail. Just like with eating and curling up in a ball, Mathilda didn't need to be taught how to shed her skin. She's just always known how. Well, I hope all of you found that interesting. I certainly do. Snakes are fascinating creatures. I love taking care of Mathilda. And if any of you go home today and beg your parents for a pet snake, don't tell them you got the idea from me. Anyway, that's all I've got for right now, and I'm sure Mr. Shaysgreen wants to get back to teaching. But if anybody has more questions about snakes, just tell the coolest mom in the world, Mrs. Sheehy. She'll let me know, and maybe we can learn some more. Stay curious.